world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Oppenheimer, one of the few films where I was rushing to see this in cinemas during its opening weeks, and although I did not view it in its IMAX 70mm goodness, the film provided a fantastic experience anyway in standard format. Released on the 20th of July 2023, Oppenheimer is a drama biopic directed by the legendary Christopher Nolan, whose other works include The Dark Knight Trilogy, Inception, and Interstellar. The film stars a huge array of celebrities, such as Cillian Murphy in the lead role, Matt Damon, Florence Pugh, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., and so many more, which I'm not gonna spoil. So, this is my review. The story of Oppenheimer is primarily based off the novel American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin, and tells the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer, an American theoretical physicist responsible for creating the atom bomb, which was dropped on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the 1940s. As a creative narrative decision, the film is split into two parts, fission and fusion. A nice nod to the stages of the hydrogen bomb goes through when it explodes, but it also helps set the story up where in time it takes place. Part 1, Fission, is a summary of Oppenheimer's early life and how the Manhattan Project was formed. The Manhattan Project being the military operation where the smartest people were put together to make the bomb. While Part 2, Fusion, is a summary of the events after the bombings and the Louis Strauss vs. Robert Oppenheimer movement. So majority of this part gets very political. So in all, part 1 is where you get to see the explosion porn, part 2 is the post-nut clarity.
Boom, 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 boom. Gonna shoot you right down.
With the amount of positives I have to say about this film, it's quite hard to say anything without providing spoilers. One aspect I can say for sure strives in perfection is the film's visuals. The microscopic shots of atoms colliding and the flames emerging from the explosions are extraordinarily beautiful. This definitely comes into play during the climax of part 1 when the Trinity test unfolds. The way Nolan executes the scene makes what is supposed to be the devastating weapon of destruction into a miraculous spectacle. You also can't have a good film without some good audio work, and Oppenheimer in that area definitely excels, both in diegetic and non-diegetic context. Unfortunately, Hans Zimmer is not present as the composer for this film, but Ludwig Göransson provides an overall great score for the film, which can feel both uplifting and dreadful at the same time. With such an ensemble cast, you'll obviously expect good acting, but I think the best out of all of them was Robert Downey Jr. For someone who was stuck playing as a titular charismatic playboy for the majority of his career, seeing him act as this serious antagonistic force in the character of Louis Strauss was interesting. Also, about time Cillian Murphy is the lead role in a Nolan film. Last but not least, I have to acknowledge how well done the story is. For a 3-hour film, it somehow manages to keep itself interesting from beginning to end. And my god, the ending. Perfect. It certainly is relevant to our time. Now, because this is a movie more about Robert Oppenheimer and less about the bomb, the movie is more drama focused. I do think many will not find the film to liking, but that's fine. That's not a complaint from me. A huge complaint from me was during my viewing was this huge ass couple constantly checking the time on their phone, which you can see in a dark ass cinema, and having a buffet. They were going at it from popcorn to Smith's chips, and hearing them munching during the scenes was fucking annoying. My only real complaint about the movie would stem that it heavily relies on context. If somebody didn't know about the bombings or the many scientists included in the movie, for example Niels Bohr, nobody knew who that was, but I did, and the Manhattan Project, or even the Louis Strauss versus Robert Oppenheimer movement, which even I wasn't aware about, then I think it would be slightly difficult to those to keep track of the storyline. A complaint which doesn't stem from me again, but those who have seen the film, is this. A sex scene in a Christopher Nolan film? Featuring boobies? Jokes aside, the scenes aren't 15 to 16 minutes long as many say, but it does exist. And just like the rest of other movie sex scenes, it's awkward to watch, especially in a full theater. Although, considering this is a Christopher Nolan film, he wouldn't throw in a random sex scene to get an R rating, would he? As many find this to be a weak part of the film, I do believe its existence stands as a way of conveying that Florence Pugh's character was a more intimate relationship with Robert than Blunt's Kitty. For me, it doesn't impact my view of the film anyway, so the inclusion is fine.
Tactical nuke incoming!
Overall, I'm giving Oppenheimer 2023 a solid 9 out of 10. Can't wait for more Sloppenheim in the future.